The world's telling you to be an alpha male, dominate, impress, flex, but God never called you to be an alpha. He called you to be anointed. One leads with ego, the other leads with eternal power. Welcome to the furnace. The furnace exists to help encourage and discipline men in their faith, fitness, and mindset. I work with Christian men that are building wealth, leading homes, scaling brands, but many are still lost when it comes to what kind of man they're supposed to be. Culture celebrates the everyday alpha, status, strength, swagger, but heaven crowns the man of God, a man marked by integrity, discipline, and authority that can't be bought. I bought into the lie that says grind hard, stack money, get respect. But I was spiritually empty. I had image, but no peace. I looked successful, but was secretly starving for significance. Then I met men of God, quiet, disciplined, surrendered, yet they carried the weight in the spirit. And I realized that's the kind of man I want to become. So here are the 4 differences between the alpha and the man of God. Number 1, the alpha seeks control. The man of God surrenders. The alpha says, I run the show. The man of God says, I serve the one who does. Proverbs 3:5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him. This kind of mindset runs deep in law enforcement. I work as a community service officer for a small police department where we're basically correctional officers. We book and release inmates and everything in between. And one thing that's taught everywhere in that field is that you need to maintain control. And don't get me wrong, there is a level of control that you need to have with yourself and with someone else. There's a difference between allowing somebody to do whatever they want and another where you're going to enforce your will on anybody at any time. One is for the safety of yourself and others. The other is an ego trip. And I had to learn the difference between those two. And it took me years to figure it out. And all I had to do was trust in God, trust in the process, trust that control in one area does not give me the right to control everything else. Number 2, the alpha leads by force. The man of God leads by fruit. Galatians 5:22 says, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Those are the fruits of the Spirit. Leadership without fruit is just manipulation with charisma. If your life is not attractive to others, then a change needs to be made. And believe me, when you have the ability to control your emotions and the way you speak to people, there is a level of control that you will have in the conversation. One thing I learned from reading the book Verbal Judo is that when you encounter someone who's yelling at the top of their lungs, upset, just being verbally aggressive, and you start the conversation calm, but you stay calm, there's only one place that other person is going to go. They're going to come down eventually. And I know this because I've experienced this myself. When you remain the peace in the storm, their storm will come down. Number 3, the alpha craves validation. The man of God craves obedience. John 5:44 says, how can you believe when you seek glory from one another? The man of God lives for well done, good and faithful servant. Seeking validation from others is always going to end in a big mess, because there will come a day when you'll come across someone that doesn't validate you. And what do? You just keep trying to find somebody to give you validation. When in reality, you need to recognize that God's already chosen you. God has predestined you before the foundation of the world to believe in Jesus. But you need to make that choice. You need to make the decision to obey his voice. If you don't, well, guess what? You'll just keep living for yourself, feeling empty, continuing on with your empty lifestyle, not having any real respect from others. And when you remain faithful with God, you seek to know him, you will see him one day. When you take your last breath, he'll either tell you, well done, good and faithful servant, or depart from me. Number 4, the alpha builds brands. The man of God builds kingdoms. One builds for applause, the other builds for eternity. The applause, guess what? They always end. Nobody claps forever. But when you build something that lasts with God, that'll last for eternity. Matthew 6:33 says, to seek first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. You weren't called to impress. You were called to make an impact. You weren't called to chase alpha energy. You were called to walk in spiritual authority. If this video hit you, drop a comment. I choose to be a man of God. If you want to support the channel, there's some links in the description. Like, subscribe, and send this to a brother who's stuck chasing image over intimacy with God. Time to stop performing for the culture and start leading with the fire of heaven. I hope this word found you well. Be blessed.